Yo, rankers! Imagine getting Isekai to 32 only to realize your only special skill is having a literal heart attack from pure terror. Meet Tanaka, our zero to hero MC who's convinced he's the weakest F-rank trash in history. But guys, the truth is the most broken misunderstanding you ever seen. Panting, sweating, and on the verge of collapse, he realizes the beast is closing in fast. With his back against the wall, he prepares to face the legendary king of beasts, the guardian of hell, Cerberus. But wait, the terrifying monster is actually just an adorable tiny puppy. His name is Tanaka, a 32-year-old summoned to another world, and he's currently losing his mind over this misunderstanding. "My sides hurt," he wheezes, completely doubled over in laughter at the sheer absurdity of his own fear. He admits he's seen plenty of old guys get summoned lately, but this is a whole new level of ridiculous. The reason for his summoning is a long story, but for now, Tanaka is just trying to catch his breath after the ultimate false alarm. But first, let's take a dive into Tanaka's actual grand adventure in this new world. Deep within the town of Azama, our protagonist is trying to blend in with the local fantasy crowd. He bursts into the Adventurers Guild with a massive grin, shouting that he's finally got some loot to sell. The guild receptionist, Jody, can only stare in disbelief as she sees the same low-level trash once again. "Sorry," Tanaka laughs awkwardly, admitting these weaklings are literally the only things he can actually defeat. Let's be real, Tanaka knows he's weak and timid, especially since he's hunting black-horned rabbits that even kids could beat. Suddenly, a magic tool springs to life, shocking Jody since the guild's atmospheric mana devices have been broken for a month. While the receptionist complains about the manual labor of processing common rabbit drops, Tanaka can only offer a sheepish apology. But his eyes light up as he receives the cold hard cash for his 10 kills. This is the life of a real monster hunter. Skipping through the streets, Tanaka couldn't be happier. He might be the weakest ranker alive, but he's finally living the isekai dream.
Clutching his hard-earned coin, Tanaka's heart races with the primal thrill of every man's dream, monster extermination, swords, and the promise of magic. Determined to prove he's more than just a background character, he arrives at a dusty second-hand magic shop, a treasure trove of enchanted relics and ancient grimoires. His heart hammers against his ribs, thump, thump, as he stands before the entrance, barely able to believe he's actually going through with it. Stepping inside, he's greeted with a chaotic wonderland of mystical artifacts, glowing crystals, and jars containing things that definitely shouldn't be in jars. Wide-eyed and breathless, Tanaka can't help but gawk at the astronomical wonders and enchanted mirrors, his inner geek absolutely losing it over the sheer mana in the air. "Need something?" a voice rasps, nearly sending Tanaka out of his skin as he shouts a desperate yes to the shop's unimpressed pipe-smoking matron. Stuttering with excitement, he manages to choke out his request. He's here for a grimoire, a gateway to the power he's always craved. The shopkeeper keeps it real, handing over a 10th-rank grimoire, warning him that testing his new firepower inside the shop is strictly forbidden. Behold, the 10th-rank grimoire, a beginner's guide to minor convenience magic that marks the official start of his journey as a mage. With a face redder than a health potion and a grin that could light up a dungeon, he clutches the book to his chest, screaming internally, "I actually bought it! I'll be able to use magic with this!" Tanaka shouts, practically telepathing his excitement as he storms back to the inn, ready to memorize every single word. The innkeeper can barely get a greeting out before Tanaka demands his usual room, his energy levels hitting a record high for a common ranker. With a quick "later," he sprints up the stairs, leaving the bewildered staff in the dust as he chases his destiny. Huddled under a blanket by lamplight, he devours the text, his face flushing as he realizes some parts of mana manipulation are way different and way more exciting than he imagined. The narrator confirms the truth. Tanaka spent the entire night obsessed, finding the thrill of a new grimoire even more intoxicating than an illicit novel. The next day dawns, and the grind doesn't stop for our aspiring mage. He finds a secluded spot in the forest, confident that out here no one will get mad when he finally unleashes his latent power. Coo, he chuckles darkly, his finger tracing the runes for ignition, the spark that will change everything. He strikes a dramatic pose, screaming for the blue flame to destroy everything, even though it's just basic cooking magic for commoners. "Appear and pierce the heavens," he bellows, fully leaning into the cringe with unnecessary chants and poses, because that's just how Tanaka rolls. "Ignition!" he screams, but instead of a tiny spark, a colossal pillar of fire erupts, incinerating everything in its path. The forest is instantly transformed into a hellscape, and Tanaka can only stand there frozen, his jaw hitting the floor as the heat waves hit his face. "Crap! Oh crap!" he panics, realizing his beginner magic just started a massive forest fire that's rapidly spiraling out of control. Desperate, he frantically flips through his grimoire, searching for anything that can stop the inferno he just created. "Found it!" he gasps, spotting a spell for water creation, even though the book lists it as a simple utility for drinking. He points his finger and bellows for water, his face twisted in a mix of terror and desperate hope as the flames roar behind him. Suddenly, the sky itself seems to rupture as a massive world-ending deluge of water begins to form above the trees. A literal ocean falls from the heavens, a splash so violent it completely dwarfs the forest fire in a display of overwhelming magical power. The aftermath is total chaos. Tanaka is swept away by his own tidal wave, screaming as the forest is replaced by a raging, unstoppable river. By causes unknown, the entire forest simply disappeared, replaced by a rising tide that left the local authorities in a state of absolute panic. Shaking and drenched, Tanaka realizes the terrifying truth. Magic isn't a toy, it's a weapon of mass destruction that genuinely scares him to his core. Wringing out his clothes by a lake, he wonders how the locals control this raw magic so perfectly when his convenience spells just reshaped the geography. But a fire ignites in his eyes. If men get stronger through training, then Tanaka will become a man among men, no matter what it takes. To master this overwhelming mana, he exiles himself deep into the desolate mountains, far from civilization, where his mistakes won't leave witnesses. Day after day, he bellows ignition, desperately trying to suppress the explosion until his power finally feels like something a normal human can handle. He pours every ounce of his soul into the grind, alternating between fire and water, all for the sake of surviving in this unforgiving new world. 1 month passes. The lush forest is gone, replaced by a barren, rocky wasteland that bears the scars of his relentless magical awakening.
The isolation finally breaks him as he screams at the top of his lungs, his modern Japanese soul crying out for the comforts of home and a break from the grind. Even the narrator has to admit it, he did his best, but this middle-aged salaryman has officially hit his mental and physical limit. After a quick magical shave, he regains his confidence, declaring that while he's still a beginner, he's at least evolved into a super baby of the magical world. For the grand finale of my training, let's see what happens when I let go of all control, Tanaka shouts, pointing to the heavens. Ignition! A blinding pillar of pure mana tears through the atmosphere, a catastrophic surge of energy so powerful it can be seen from the edge of the world. In the nearby Morty village, the night sky is obliterated by a pillar of light as the mountain itself seems to erupt in a divine fury.
The villagers are paralyzed with terror, their eyes wide as they beg their leader to explain the celestial disaster unfolding before them. What happened? They scream, convinced that only the elder could possibly understand such a terrifying phenomenon. The elder stands frozen, sweat pouring down his face as he realizes the sheer scale of the power that just leveled the peak. It's the god of the mountain, he bellows, his voice cracking with desperation as he orders everyone to start praying for their lives. Under the blinding glow of Tanaka's training, the village is bathed in light, a scene of total awe and absolute panic. The elder sighs in relief, realizing his half-assed lie actually worked, while the villagers fall to their knees in worship of a god that is actually just a salaryman with zero self-control. Unaware that he's just been branded a literal deity by the locals, Tanaka stands sweating under the glow of his own overkill magic. He wipes his brow with a cheeky grin, feeling absolutely top-tier and physically unstoppable after his explosive workout session. But instead of checking the damage, he decides to turn a blind eye to the chaos and heads back for a warm meal and a fluffy bed. Waha! He cheers, skipping away from the devastation. This old guy is officially having the time of his life in this new world. But check out these broken stats. Tanaka is sitting on god-tier power levels and a mysterious new title, Receiver of Faith. He might only be rank E, but with mana and endurance reaching into the trillions, the significance of these numbers is about to change everything.